So the other side, when we won so big in Ohio, and we won so big in Iowa, we weren't supposed to win like that. And we had those horrible exit polls. Remember the exit polls started coming out? And everybody in this, they did that to depress the vote. Because in places like California and other places, they see it because there's a 3-hour gap. And they say, I love Trump, but I'm not going to waste my time. Because these exit polls came out, and my daughter and her husband Jared called up, Ivanka and Jared, and they said, Dad, it's looking really bad. I said, what's looking bad? It can't. I just left Michigan. I started speaking almost at 1 o'clock in the morning on Election Day, and we had 31,000 people, inside and out. And I said, what's looking bad? And she said, those exit polls are just horrible, and it's not looking good. So I went to my wife. I said, you know what? I don't feel badly about this because I worked as hard as you can work. Don't forget, that last month, I did 2 and 3 speeches a day like this, big crowds. And I don't know, maybe I'm wrong about it. Maybe I'm wrong about it. Maybe you should say I didn't work hard and therefore I lost. You could use it, but I really did. I worked as much as you could possibly physically do. I don't think anyone's ever, I don't think anybody, and they've written this, I don't think anybody has ever worked harder in the last month of a presidential campaign than I did. Nobody. And I covered 17 states, and I went to Maine. I needed one because they all said, you cannot get to 270, right? Remember? Or they'd say it a little different. They'd say, there is no path to 270 for Donald Trump. He will not win the election. So I said, I'll get to 270. I'm going to go to Maine 2, which is 1. Okay, it's got a half. It's called Maine 2. And I went there. I got it, too, by the way. I got that one vote. So, right? I got it. I got that one vote. But I went to Maine. And that's the beauty of this electoral system. The other, if you go with, like, the popular vote, I'd go New York State, California, back, forth, back. It would be much easier. The problem is every other place, you'd stop in Florida, you'd stop in Texas, you wouldn't see any place else. It would be so much easier. I think I'd actually do better, but you'd never see most of the country. The electoral vote, and I never appreciated it until now, how genius it was, what they had in mind. Because at the time, they didn't want everybody going to Boston and New York, and everything else would be forgotten. And now it's the same thing. It's genius. I'm telling you, it's genius. I went to 17 states. I went to states that, you just wouldn't go to. And they were great. And I went to places, frankly, that normally you wouldn't be thinking about too much, and they were incredible, and they came through for me. Most of them really, really came through. So then you had the Hillary people saying that we won. Let's see. Right? We won. But you had the Hillary people on, and they were saying, we are going to win the state of Florida. We have information. We're going to win. I mean, maybe their information was how many people voted illegally. Maybe that was the information. But, of course, when I say that, they'll say, isn't that a terrible thing that he said? Isn't that terrible? You got to look into that, folks. But the problem is, when you win Florida by that much, there's nothing much they can do. You can't have people and numbers that's bigger than the number of people. So they said, you can't win, and we're going to, do great. And we end up, breaking news. Ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump has won the state of Florida. And these people are standing. I remember they had one guy, I guess he was mid-level, and he was saying, we're going to win the state of Florida. He's representing her. We're going to win the state of Florida. We're going to win North Carolina, but Florida is really looking strong. And the announcer said, excuse me 1 minute, we have something breaking. Breaking news. Trump has won the state of Florida. And the guy's standing like, what happened? But then they said that I can't win North Carolina. And by the way, they raised $2 billion. They spent so much more money than me. I spent like peanuts compared to what they spent. Under budget and ahead of schedule. Does that sound good? Yeah? Under budget and ahead of schedule. Like we're going to have our roads built and our planes built. And our F-35 is one of the most expensive. Now, we're going to straighten things out, but under budget. So what happens, you know, in the old days, you have some people here that will tell you, when you spend less money and win, that's much better than the other way. And I had cases where I was tied or up in a poll, but she had spent in a state like 50 million and I had spent like 2 million. And they said, Donald Trump is not spending the money like, and I'm saying, wait, that's a good thing. They don't understand it. That's actually a good thing. If I can do that, it's a good thing. I remember in the primary in New Hampshire, I love New Hampshire, and in New Hampshire, I spent a tiny amount, almost nothing. And another person, so I can't say anymore because they're all friends of mine now, but so I won't. But another person spent like $22 million. I spent nothing and I won. And they said, before I won, like, this person was doing great because he was spending much more money. I said, yeah, but I'm going to win the state. So remember, for all the young people here, when you spend less money and you win, that's a good thing, not a bad thing, all right? Trying to press. So then their next state was North Carolina, which is great. And they outspent me 5-1 at least. But I had my sons there and Lara and everybody. We had incredible people there. And they came out, and again, breaking news, Donald Trump has won North Carolina. That was unbelievable. And then Pennsylvania, we were doing so good in Pennsylvania, but every Republican for like 38 years has lost Pennsylvania, some large, ridiculous number. And they always called it the bride that got away. I don't even know if that's politically correct when the press says it. Now, if I say it, they'll say it's not politically correct, but I always heard them say it, so for them it's fine, right? But they say the bride that got away because you thought every Republican for 30 years thought they won the state of Pennsylvania. It's a big state. And they didn't. So I said, we're going to win Pennsylvania. We had 3 congressmen there who were incredible. They said, we're going to win. But I didn't want to tell that to anybody because everybody thought they were going to win anyway. So we're looking, and there's 1% left, and I'm leading by a lot. And even if I lost 100% of the 1%, there was no way I could lose the state. But they would not call the state. Now, I knew, in fact, I started accepting victory, because if I win Pennsylvania, now I win. And the other side is saying they're going to win Pennsylvania, but actually when they looked at the numbers, they understood it too. It was over. And then we had a surprise. Breaking news. Donald Trump has won the state of Wisconsin. Wisconsin. Right? And people are saying, where did that come from? What happened? Because we weren't we thought we were going to do well there, but we won it. And now they're in trouble. They're really in trouble. And I don't know if you saw they had the most beautiful stage. In fact, I wanted to swap stages with them around midway through. I wanted to maybe swap. You know, they had that beautiful picture of the country and magnificent. You know, they spent $7 million on fireworks, and they knew something was wrong. One of their people, who's a high-level guy, said, we made a big mistake. We made a big mistake. We're going to lose. And he was telling that to people. And I felt we were going to win. But then all of a sudden, they canceled their fireworks a weekend, and I said, because you know what I found? Fireworks just don't work when you lose. Do you agree with it? Did you ever see one of your football teams, when they lose, have fireworks in the stadium? No. No, it's called depression. But they cancel their fireworks, and then just to be cute, we sent an offer in. We offered to buy their fireworks for 5 cents on the dollar. Right? They had a very good company, Grucci or something, Grucci. They had a great company going to do their fireworks. We offered to buy it for 5 cents on the dollar. We never heard back from them. But they had this incredible, they took the convention center, And I took sort of a small ballroom because if I lost, I want to get out. You know what I did? Here would be my case. I'd come up. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. My supporters, I love you folks. I love you. It was a movement, but it was a movement that didn't work. Right? Right? And I would have said, I want to thank my wife. I want to thank my family. Bye-bye. I'm out of here, right? So I didn't want to really have this huge, expensive thing. So I had a ballroom in the city. But then all of a sudden, we started seeing we were going to win. And we knew we were going to win because we knew we won Pennsylvania, even though they wouldn't call it. They called it at 3 o'clock in the morning. They should have called it like at 11:30 in the evening. I think because if you looked at the ratings, they were so high, they were making a fortune by not calling it, all right? But then we won, before Pennsylvania, the state of Michigan. Everyone said, oh. And then they started having the cameras. And then, I said it last night, you had one guy who's really good. I mean, he's really good on the maps, right? You know who I'm talking about. And that map was so red. It was so unbelievable. That map that, you know, they used to show it, and it was really depressing. Everything was blue, blue, blue. They had the blue wall. Remember the blue wall that was unbreakable? Boy, did we shatter that wall, right? We shattered that wall. That wall was shattered. That wall will never be the same. So we broke the wall. So now we won Wisconsin. Now we won Michigan. And I'll never forget the guy. He was devastated. This was not in his play. He never even thought of this. And his hand is like quivering, you know, because he puts it on the map and the map turns red. Donald Trump has won the state of Wisconsin. Oh, no. Donald Trump goes, oh, no, no. Please check this, please check this. Donald Trump has won the state of Michigan. And it's very unfair to the people of Pennsylvania. They never got the glory. It's like the guy that, you know, could rush for 1 yard and get the glory for it. They didn't get the glory. But we love our people in Pennsylvania because they were there for us, right? So now he goes. Because they've been saying there was no way to get to 270, right? Remember? There is no path to 270. And the most they could get me to was 269. Remember that? 269. I never once got above, in their minds, 269. They get paid a lot of money. They don't know what the hell they're talking about, folks, I'll tell you. I never once got, Jeff will tell you, I never once got above 269. Now, I was watching it for months. That's where I got upset with Texas. I kept saying, Texas, we're going to win it. So what happens is the 269, and that's why I kept going to Maine. I needed that one. So now what happens is he's up, he says Wisconsin, he says Michigan, and now he goes, there is no path for Hillary Clinton to become president of the United States. Donald Trump and his great movement is president of the United States. So it was pretty great. It was pretty good. And some sportscasters, really good ones at ESPN, said that's as good as it gets.